It may be cooling off outside, but we are burning up in the role player layer. I am your host, or one of your hosts, I should say, Byron, and I'm joined by my broski, my partner in crime, none other than Mr. Philosophical Know-It-All, Mr. Know-It-All, I should say, Jay. And it's already on and popping. How you doing, Jay?
Man, I'm great, man. It's a great day. A great day. You know why it's a great day, bro?
Why is it a great day?
Cause it's Friday, bro. It's Friday, and I'm ready to see some football this weekend, man. We didn't have Thursday night football, so let me tell you something, bro. I When you don't have Thursday night football, you appreciate Thursday night football.
Oh yeah,
So I'm having football withdrawal. I'm ready to see some football, bro.
I can second that. But we had Tuesday football, you know, if you want to call that football, but it was football for one team at least. But you know, everyone can't be a Titan. Some of us are Bills fans, like Dollar Bill. Who knows? Maybe he's healed up for the week. But a lot happened this week. Seems like COVID is the new norm. I think I've heard that before. But COVID is the new norm. It's going around in the NFL. And then you had Le'Veon Bell ringing phones left and right. And he finally landed in Kansas City. Since we last spoke, LeBron is a four-time champ. 4 times, Jay. Can the Rays make the World Series and cap off this crazy year? So much going on in sports, man. I love it. I really do. I love it. But since we last talked, Jay, you know, we've had some unfortunate news too. This is for all of our Cowboy naysayers and Cowboy fans. But Dak Prescott pretty much ruined his foot. If you didn't see it, then you're not a sports fan. There's no way you didn't see this. That was crazy. I just didn't expect it. And I mean, it's not like you watch football and you say, well, hey, I'm expecting someone's foot to twist and contort. It's not like you're looking for it, but geez, it was just a routine play. And then down goes Dak. And it was so heartbreaking, man. I know I kept telling my girlfriend, I said I was so sad just seeing Dak Prescott like that. You know, tears in his eyes, Jay. It kind of felt like the end. Even though it's not the end. I think they said he has a 4 to 6 month recovery time. You know, that's barring no setbacks. But it just felt so sad, man. So sad. But there's a bigger issue here. Or maybe it's not an issue. It just depends on what take you or what side you take in this whole battle. The NFL allows owners, franchises, teams to place a franchise tag on players. So if you didn't know, the franchise tag is basically a 1-year deal. And you get paid the average of the top 3 salaries at that position in which that player plays in. So it's pretty lucrative for a player. Or you get paid 120% of your previous year's salary, just depending on which one is highest, you know. Maybe you're already in the top 3. So you get the 120%. So that's the deal for the player. But if the player doesn't sign his tender, well, That's a whole nother ball game because he kind of has three different options. Either you can come to terms and agree to a deal with the team that you're currently on. May not be the deal you want, but it will be a deal over a course of time, probably about 5 to 7 years, if you're that good. Or you can just sign the tender and play on that 1 year deal. Or you can go and seek out a trade. But the thing about it is, you got to make sure that the team you're going to is willing to send back some first round picks to the team that you're leaving. Because, hey, we can't let you leave for nothing. We can't do it. We can't afford it. The fans need you. Or there's a wild card, and I spoke about Le'Veon Bell earlier, but he took the wild card option, and he said, no deal. I'm not playing on a franchise tender. You're not going to extend me. I'm just done with this team. And he sat out the entire year. Now, how crazy is that? But it worked out for Le'Veon Bell. He just cashed out $28 million from the Jets, man. $28 million, Jay, to basically go and take a tour of New York. That's insane. But back to Dak Prescott, because he's on one of those franchise tenders. And there's different levels to it. Because you could get a transition tag or franchise tag, but there's levels to this thing. But the goal or the main beef with it is you're not getting the security, the longevity, the insurance of a multi-year deal. So for Dak Prescott, who knows? Not wishing anything bad on him, but think about Alex Smith, man. We just watched him take a down for the first time in like 3 seasons. You never know how an injury like that can go. And what, Dak Prescott's going to only get, 20, 25 million out of the deal? Maybe 30 million out of the deal? When he's clearly worth the same amount of money that Deshaun Watson and all these other guys was getting in the offseason. So, Jay, I'm bringing it to you, man. I'm going to let you go in on it first. Or we could have a back and forth. It doesn't matter, man. But this franchise tag, man, is this something that needs to change in the NFL? Or is it something that they need to modify? What's your thoughts on it, Jay? Because, man, this is just seeming like a backhanded deal for Dak Prescott.
Well, it's two elements to this. So the first element is this football season has been a train wreck. So any thoughts that they were having, man, any thoughts they were having about no preseason football, that pretty much probably going to go out the door right now. Because you see teams, the injury bug has just completely ruined some of these football teams. And them as the NFL, for their product of what they're selling, they want to see the stars on the field. They don't care about seeing the Justins and the Byrons from the practice squad. You know what I'm saying? They want to see the stars play, which goes to the second element of the game. Trying to make this game safer, not allowing them to have contact. They were doing walkthroughs. That's the reason why we having this train wreck of a season. Because Prescott got hurt on a play. That was a tackle, but that was a poorly formed tackle. Like, he didn't tackle, he didn't roll, he didn't take it. He just kind of fell on top of Prescott's foot, which caused it to break. I mean, some of these guys are rock solid. You know what I mean? So you're basically saying it's a linebacker, defensive end. That's 230, 220 pounds, 25, full force, full speed, falling down flat on his ankle. Which brings me to the franchise tag. Man, I do understand it's a business, but it's a loophole for the owners. The ownership, as in Jerry Jones for the Dallas Cowboys, they can essentially get out of this. It's essentially was a win-win situation for these guys, because they can let's say Andy Dalton works out, right? And they say, Andy Dalton works out. He currently is playing on a 3-year contract for pretty much way cheaper than the franchise tag would cost them with Dak Prescott. But let's say Prescott's not 100%. He is going to essentially sit out some time, and Dallas really can hedge their bets. You see what I mean? Like, if Prescott's not 100%, they could just say, well, you get back healthy, you take your time, we'll revisit this contract in a year or two, whenever you're ready to play football. If he is healthy and Andy Dalton works out, they can still elect to move on from Prescott, which is even a worse deal for Prescott, because Prescott, I mean, if anyone's going to invest in him right now, no one's going to invest more into Prescott right now than the Dallas Cowboys, because any other team is going to say, hold up. You got to come in. You got to take a physical, things along that nature. So I feel bad for him. I understand it's a business. I really can't put myself in his shoes. I've never been hurt on the field playing. And thank God for that. I played a lot of sports. I never was injured. I never broke a bone. Most thing I did was twist the ankle or a wrist. So I really can't put myself in his shoes, but I do sympathize because he was having a hell of a season. And I mean, he was in line to get paid in off season. He was going to be the highest paid quarterback. And it's just a bad blow for him. I feel bad. His franchise tags has really derailed some careers, man. Melvin Gordon and Le'Veon Bell that you mentioned earlier, their careers really went up in smoke because of the franchise tag. And somehow we have to. It's a loophole in it. It's a loophole in the franchise tag. So somehow we have got to, and when I'm saying we, I'm saying the NFL, we have got to come up with a better way to secure these players. So maybe we get the franchise tag. So I franchise tag Dak Prescott. I'm the owner of the Cowboys. And if Dak Prescott plays the season 100%, no injuries, then that contract, then he stays on the franchise tag. We revisit it in the spring when the contract talks start. And, we're working on a long-term deal. But what if we can put inside the franchise tag that, hey, I'm franchise tag if I have a significant injury that can be career-threatening. That this franchise tag that's, let's say, Dak Prescott, I believe his was $36 million, correct? So let's say you sign him to the franchise tag, and this is a risk because it's a risk for the players, correct? So we sign him to the franchise tag, and we say, okay, if he has a significant injury, that $36 million now counts against your cap for the next 4 years. And you have to be on the books for paying this guy for having that significant injury. That way, that'll stop the ownership for saying, hey, I got you, man, and, I don't want you to go nowhere. I mean, for God's sakes, man, A.J. Green was franchised this offseason. Why the hell was he franchised? You kind of see what I'm saying?
I'm with you.
I want you to follow me. Now, if they make it through the season uninjured, unfazed, then we're talking contracts. We're talking contract in the next season. This goes for all players who get franchised. I mean, not just last season. We franchised Robbie Gould, man. Robbie Gould said he wanted to play in Chicago. We franchised Robbie Gould to keep him from going to Chicago. And essentially, he came in, he played, he didn't participate in training camp. He was missing field goals early. And I mean, he was upset because he felt as if I'm trying to move on. And his reasoning for going to Chicago wanting to go to Chicago was his family was in Chicago. So when he left Chicago, he never uprooted his family to the Bay Area. So that was his reasoning. But San Fran franchises him and holds him basically hostage, which that's okay. But let's say Robbie Gold tears an ACL. Now you have to take care of him for the next 4 years. That franchise number. I think that would stop these owners from saying, hey, I can't get a deal done. And, there's no way I'm going to let him go for nothing. I'm just going to slap this franchise tag on him so he can't move. Because what if you franchise, I'm thinking someone, what if Philly franchise Carson Wentz and he stays hurt? He's always on the injured list. You see what I mean? That would keep these guys from saying, hey, I don't want him to go elsewhere. I can't afford to keep him. Hey, let's just franchise tag him and see how this works out. Because right now, the only one is benefiting really is ownership. NFL wants longevity. NFL player wants longevity. Although Dak made his money for a year, and do believe me, $36 million is way more than enough for one season. But he wants the long-term contract. I'm pretty sure he would have rather took $30 million for 5 years versus 36 for a year. And that's just my thoughts on it.
I hear you loud and clear, Jay. And I really do. And like I say, I feel bad for Dak Prescott. But allow me to play devil's advocate.
Oh, boy.
So here's the thing, Role Player Nation. When you look at the NFL, it's probably the most competitive sport in America as far as being balanced. Now, last time I checked, there hasn't really been too many repeat Super Bowl winners. And for the most part, there's always a different team in the Super Bowl every season. Whereas you look at baseball can kind of turn into a New York, LA, Boston show. Basketball can turn into a, hey, saw Lakers, saw LeBron, not so much in New York, but Golden State, the bigger markets. You see where I'm going with this. NFL, on the other hand, you might get the Seahawks. You may get the Patriots, the Titans. I mean, you never know. The Steelers, the 49ers. Jay, that's you. My Jaguars were one game away. They were one game away from making it to the Super Bowl. One game and one Miles Jack wasn't down play. That's what down it was. He wasn't down. Now, without the franchise tag, and let me back up for a second before I even get into it, because I'm going to share my thoughts after I play devil's advocate. But the NFL incorporated the salary cap to balance out the NFL. Because prior to the salary cap, you had teams that were just loading up. We have the cash, we'll throw it at the players. We have the cash, we'll throw it at the players. So it was very easy for the big market teams to say, want to come here? You want to play? You want to win? You want a championship? Then come to San Francisco because we can afford Jerry Rice, Steve Young, and Deion Sanders. And whatever else we want to afford. And then when he was done in San Francisco, he said, I'd like to go and play in Dallas. The rules were much different, but they made the cap to balance things out. And with the cap comes the franchise tag. Now, I know you're looking at it because you said AJ Green is on a franchise tag. And what the hell for? We're talking about Cincinnati. They're not going to have too many opportunities at an AJ Green type talent. Because without the franchise tag, what if teams just looked at it and said, hey, we can afford your guy and we're going to poach him. We're going to take him and we're going to run away with him. And you're going to be left high and dry with nothing. That is what the salary cap and the franchise tag is supposed to prevent. So it is a loophole for owners because the Jaguars are terrible in the front office. And they looked at Yannick Ngakoue and said, hey, guy, we love you so much that we just can't let you go without you running us something back. And then they made him seek a trade. It got ugly. He's on Twitter talking about the owners. He got his trade, and we got draft picks. So the owners do win in this situation. And sometimes the players can lose in this situation. It's really a win, lose for players. Because either you're going to win and you're going to get that big payout in a long-term deal, or you're going to get injured, or you have to sit out an entire season. And then we know that the NFL is based on, what have you done for me lately? The NFL stands for not for long. You know, the average career in the NFL is 4 years. It's crazy, right? But think about some of your favorite players. 4 years, come and go. So I do understand what the franchise tag is for. Because if we have the talent of Odell Beckham Jr., we just can't let you leave us high and dry. What are the chances that we get another guy that compelling, that electrifying, that big of a personality to come back in here and be a fan favorite and sell us tickets and give us a chance at winning football games? Because I don't know about you, I love seeing the competitiveness in the NFL. Look at the Atlanta Falcons. This team has all of the talent. They suck. Look at the Miami Dolphins. They don't have that much talent, and they're winning. They're winning, man. You never know what a Sunday's going to be like in the NFL, or a Monday, or Tuesday. You could say any day now, because they play all days of the week this year. But you never know what it's going to be like in the NFL. But in the NBA, come on, man. We knew it was LA, whether it was the Clippers or the Lakers. You think Giannis Antetokounmpo really has a chance in Milwaukee? Get out of Dodge. You're insane. But it allows it to be competitive in the NFL. Now, with all of that devil advocacy that I've given you, I'm going to give you my take on what should happen. Jay, I think 4 years is extreme. Because 4 years, top salary, that's going to make things very hairy. And it's going to go against the cap. But do not fret. I think I may have a solution. The NBA is all about giving players the power, right, Jay? So why not give the NFL guys just a little squeegee-meegee little bit of power, please, before they ghost you? You like that power reference, didn't you? But give them a little power. So let's turn the franchise tag into a one. Let's turn it into different tiers. You know? Let's turn it into a 1, 2, 3 tier type thing. And let's say the franchise tag is 1 year with the 1 year player option. So that'll essentially be a 2-year deal. Because think about if Dak Prescott had a player option on his deal. Well, then he could look at Dallas and say, you screwed me, I'm going to screw you. I'm injured, and you're going to pay me. It's my money, and I want it now. And he could just sit on the bench all of next season, nursing that foot. Or let's say tier 2. It's a 2-year deal, no team option, but it's the top 3 salaries at your position. Or let's say it's a tier 3, 2-year deal and a team option, which gives you essentially a 3-year deal. If this team wants you, then they'll give you this for 3 years, because most long-term deals in the NFL are, 5, 7 years? Said the average career is 4 years. So that'll keep you under that 4-year mark. That way, you can trade that deal if need be, or you can release them and take the hit. It's a hell of a hit, though. Hell of a hit. Or you could just say, I'm going to buy my time and let this guy ride it out. Because I know the Jaguars invested, and, I can relate to the Jaguars, but we invested, and you could say Miami Dolphins, too. Blake Bortles, Ryan Tannehill, they had about a 3-year window to get things together. Jameis Winston, too. So why not give the players a little bit of control? Let them have some player options out there. Because, man, it's going to be tragic if last Sunday is the last that we see of Dak Prescott and he walks away with $36 million. Shame. Ryan Tannehill makes more. Blake Bortles makes more. A lot of these guys are going to make more than this guy. And keep in mind, a 4th, 5th, 6th round pick? So he's already playing on hundreds of thousands, maybe a measly million or two. He's not getting that big boy salary like those top guys. So it's going to be a shame if Dak Prescott plays all of these years for the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, and he walks away with little to nothing attached to his name. Got to change this franchise tag, man. They got to do something. Something has to change immediately, too. The players' union needs to step in. Make things fair. Because you're right, Jay. The owners absolutely win out of this thing. And it's just not fair. Even from a business standpoint, because sports is business. But that's bad business, man. You're holding a player by his pinky toe.
Oh yeah, so real quick, because you say you had rather have a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3,
yeah.
And that's what we're on here for. We're on here to debate. We are on here to debate. So I'm gonna throw some names out here real fast, and we can move on. I have, and the names I'm gonna drop to you. I'm not as familiar with the money part of the sport of baseball like I am with football. I am familiar with how it goes, though.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna name a couple names out that I know what the dollar figure was that the contract they signed. So we got Barry Zito, Jeff Samardzija, Pablo Sandoval. Pablo Sandoval signed with the Red Sox for 140, I think it was 145 million, 7 years. After he was the MVP with the that's a lot for Pablo Sandoval, right? After he was the MVP of the World Series.
Okay.
Jeff Samardzija signed a $100 million contract after he was, I think, comeback pitcher of the year for the Oakland A's. Then we all know about the other guy, Mr. Barry Zito.
Oh, yeah.
He got paid, man. He got paid like $120 million for 7 years. Neither one of those guys fulfilled their contracts. Okay, so the Giants was a 5-year contract for Jeff Samardzija. He did not produce at all in those 5 years. At all. Neither did Barry Zito. They even moved Zito to the bullpen and say, look, man, we're in the World Series. We need your arm for like 1 or 2 innings, because he wasn't effective after like the second inning, maybe an inning and a half. We need your arm for 1 or 2 innings. That's what you can offer us. That's the only option you have. Are you done here? They essentially kept those guys. But that's what you get, San Francisco Giants, for signing those guys. No, you can't just cut them. You have to hold on to that money. You have to hold on to it, and you have to see that every day. hey man, I signed this guy and I shouldn't have done it. Same way with the Red Sox. The Red Sox weren't able to sign Mookie Betts this offseason, and everyone was like, how they going to just trade Mookie Betts to the Dodgers of all people? Because they're still paying Pablo Sandoval. That's almost absurd. It's been 3 years since that guy left Boston. They're still paying him. They're cap strong. They don't have any more money. And it's not officially a cap, but it's a lot of revenue sharing in baseball. They are maxed out. So all I'm saying is, hey, if you want Le'Veon Bell, and if you want Melvin Gordon, if you want these guys at this high price, hey, you're going to hold them hostage, and you're not going to offer them long-term contracts. This is what I'm going to do. If you sign this guy and he gets hurt, well, I'm going to make you be on the hook for the next 3 to 4 years. Maybe 4 is a little absurd, but 3 to 4 years, that way you should think about franchising this guy. And you should just sit down and say, okay, man, we're going to come up with a number. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I totally agree with you. I like the tier 1, tier 2 things, but hey, man, this has to work for both parties. And here again, if he plays and fulfill that whole contract, then hey, we're back at the table again, and we're deciding on how much we're going to pay this guy. I just feel bad for the player that gets injured, and no one. This is not the first time it's happened, but no one would have gave a hill of beans if it wasn't quote unquote America's team. But go ahead.
You may have a point, but I'll say this. If there's anything that I just learned is that baseball does it all the way wrong. Okay? That's insane dollar amounts to be on the hook with these guys. I mean, we're throwing around 1, 2, 300 million, 4, 5. The Philadelphia Phillies are on the hook for what, 500 million for Bryce Harper? Okay, we can't do that in the NFL. We can't do that. But what we can do, I don't know, man. Maybe it can be some hybrid between what you said, Jay, and what I said. But it has to be something other than what it is. Because what it is robbery. It's robbery in the middle of the street. On your TV, you're watching an owner rob a player. Sure, Jerry Jones looked sad. He looked broken up about the situation. But if Dak Prescott never recovers from this, well, who wins? Jerry Jones, the multi-billionaire owner? Or does Dak Prescott win with $36 million? Come on, man. Gotta change these things up. Can't do it anymore. Won't do it. Refuse to do it. Can't do it. Won't be me. Who is that, Jay?
That's Mr. Michael Singletary.
That's your guy. That was a disaster. What?
Man, that was a disaster, man. The worst hire. No, I take that back. The second worst hire in 49er history.
Well, that may have been one of the worst hires in the 49ers history, but I'm going to tell you about a good hire. And that might be Matt Rule. It's time for some keep pounding football. Man, these guys are on a roll. They're like butter. They're on a roll. I mean, it's sweet, too. It's sweet. This thing is turning into something down the I-85 pipeline. Whoever would have known, man? People are no longer saying TB12. They're saying TB5? What is this about? Robbie Anderson? The next big-time receiver in the NFL? Mike Davis? Maybe he should just run it all season. I'm hearing a lot of talk, man, a lot of talk. But these guys are winning. I'm not going to take that away from them. I'm not. But on the defensive side, it's really strapped. Brian Burns should be coming back. He's been down all week, but he should be game time ready on Sunday. But still no K1 Short, man. I mean, he's played since 2013, so 7 seasons. That's pretty good. You know, I said that the average is 4 seasons, right? He has 2 Pro Bowls under his belt. He was on that Super Bowl team, the team that went to the Super Bowl. He has like 32 and a half sacks for his career. I mean, these are good numbers, right, Jay?
Yeah, those are actually great numbers.
But
you wouldn't think it. You wouldn't think he has those type of numbers.
You really wouldn't. You would not. I looked the guy up and I was like, geez, maybe they are missing this guy. Maybe they need him out on the field. But man, injuries have plagued him as of late. And when I say as of late, it's a season or 2? But this guy has big numbers, considering he's only played 7 years. But is it Panther Ring of Honor? Is it Hall of Fame Panther worthy? Is he in the likes of Luke Kuechly, Steve Smith, probably Greg Olsen soon, Sam Mills? You know, is he in that? Wonder if Jake Delhomme will ever get in there. Interesting.
But that's interesting. That's very interesting.
We're not talking about Jake Delhomme. We're talking about K1 Short, man. Could he be the first defensive guy in quite some time? Well, I mean, other than Luke Kuechly, because you know Luke is going to be in there. But should he be in there as well? He's been a staple up front. Jay, what you thinking, man?
Man, I when I first heard that K1 Short probably would be out for the season, I said, wow, that's a big blow, because we talked about the defensive draft the Panthers had. We talked about the defensive draft they had, how many big guys they drafted up front. And I said, hey, man, you got K1 Short. That actually last season was actually the first time he really missed significant time with the Panthers. And then this happens this year. So that's why those guys are paid to be GMs. And that's why I'm just a role player. Because I definitely would have drafted on the back end of the draft at his position, but not at the front end, the top of the draft. But K1 Short numbers are comparison to a one and only Chris Jenkins. And we all know how they love Chris Jenkins, right?
Ooh.
Yeah. He had numbers comparison, which Chris Jenkins had a career before the Panthers. Then went to the Panthers. His numbers with the Panthers are comparison to his. Chris Jenkins is also comparison to Sam Mills, who had a stellar career. I mean, he was the rock of the New Orleans Saints defense when they had those trash bags over their head every single season, bro. So all I'm saying is they may be on to something. Now, I do think K1 Short has some football left in him, so he won't be retiring no time soon. I do think he has played his last game in a Panther uniform, because it just don't make sense for them to invest back into him, and they're moving forward with the youth movement on their front seven. But those are some very godlike numbers, and I think he deserves. Now, we all know Luke Kuechly is going to be in that Ring of Honor, right?
Oh yeah,
he's going up on that Ring of Honor. They're having talks of new stadiums in Charlotte and all of that. So he will be, if not, he will be the next name on that Ring of Honor. But I gotta say, unless an unfortunate event happened to K1 Short, he's going up in that Ring of Honor, because you have to. If you love Chris Jenkins, you gotta love this guy.
That's an interesting take. And Chris Jenkins is not in the Ring of Honor, but they love Chris Jenkins. Mike Rucker, Julius Peppers. I forgot about Julius Peppers being in that Ring of Honor, because he's a legend in the NFL.
Yes, he is.
You know, Julius Peppers was probably one of the first new style defensive ends where you said, this guy can do it all. I love me some Julius Peppers, man. I love him. That's a player. But we're talking about K1 Short here. K1 Short, he's a dog. But I'm going to say hard pass on K1. He's great. Don't get me wrong. But you made an interesting point, Jay. K1 may have football left in him, but not in Carolina. And if he goes on to play for, I don't know, let's say a New England, or hey, why not Kansas City? That seems to be the go and get a quick ring team here lately. If he goes to Kansas City and he plays for another, let's just say 7 years or 5, let's do 5, or let's go back to that average of 4. Let's say he plays 4 more years, but he has 2 or 3 Super Bowls with Kansas City during that time. I'm going to say hard pass. Because no one's going to remember him as a Panther at that point. They're going to remember him as a Chief or a Patriot or wherever he goes. Don't go to Jacksonville. But he's going to be remembered as that. So I'm going to say it's a hard pass. But interesting point. The dude he's a Panther legend right now. If it ends today, I'll say, yeah, consider that guy. Give him a hey guy from the role players. But if he continues to go on and play and produce, it might not work as well. He may not do what Julius Peppers. He may not do what Julius Peppers did and say, hey, you know what? I want to come back home. Because he may say, hey, guys, I don't know. The grass is greener on the other side of the fence. He may do it. But while we're on the subject of Panther football, I mentioned that a lot of people are on the Mike Davis train. I'm on the Mike Davis train. He helped me win a game in my fantasy league. Shout out to the Fantasy Voyage. Sorry we didn't get out to the episode this week, guys, but we couldn't vacate onto the voyage. Life had me bogged down. I had to do a lot of work, but we'll be back. I promise. But Mike Davis, man, he is running the ball. He was the best running back in the NFL last week. He did a lot of running. He's been good. He's been stellar. And it takes me back to when I've been saying for so long, the CMC thing is coming to an end sooner than you think. Because in my experience, you can't run a running back into the ground like that. You just can't do it. He's been running nonstop ever since he made it into the Panthers organization. And now he's come down with the injury. He's starting to get nicked up. But CMC is a dog too. So why not have that lightning and thunder with him and Mike Davis? Maybe you reel back CMC from taking on the brunt and the bulk of the pounding. And you use him like New Orleans uses Kamara. Get him out in space so he doesn't take so many shots. But let Mike Davis go up in there and take it on. Let him be your keep pounding mascot. That's what I would do. Reel back CMC just a little bit. Conserve his years, man. You have something special in CMC, and you have something good in Mike Davis. Don't spoil it. As a matter of fact, I would just be interested to say, hey, maybe we'll let CMC just sit it out, We'll just let him take another 3 weeks. Or let them take it up to the bye. I'm not sure when they have a bye. But maybe we'll let them take it up to the bye. But, Jay, you got any thoughts on the CMC Mike Davis keep pounding reign?
Mike Davis came into the NFL as a 49er, man. So He's a little long on the tooth. He don't have really a lot of high mileage on him, so he could definitely be serviceable. I do think Carolina need to pull back from the usage of Christian McCaffrey, or he's not going to make it through the life of that contract. I always like to use the life because they love running backs when they're young and they're fresh. But the minute they start getting nicked up and the minute they start slowing down, it's like the NFL. It's like, man, the hell with you, man. I used you. They use me up till I'm all gone. That's what they do to the running backs. So, brother, I'm telling you, man, I mean, it would behoove them to use him accordingly. Now, I'm not saying take the air out of the ball for McCaffrey. But hey, give him 10 touches. Give him 10 touches in the air, 10 touches on the ground. He doesn't have to run 15, 20 times. Or give him 10 touches on the ground, 5 in the air. I mean, let Mike Davis get let him get 5 to 8 carries a game is good for Mike Davis. Just to keep McCaffrey fresh, because I don't know, man. It's something about these lower body injuries and what they do to the running backs, man. It kind of, once they start having those injuries, it's kind of like the start of the ending. And I mean, I can agree with you on it. I'm not gonna say I totally disagree. I don't know if Mike Davis is the one to take the load, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So, hey, Rob McDavis until the wheels run off. That's my take on that.
Oh, until the wheels fall off. Hey, until the wheels fall off. Hey.
What the hell was that?
Had to get on the Panther train real quick, man. Sometimes you get hyped, especially when you're winning fantasy games, man. But, you know, it's going to be a great weekend full of sports. Got baseball, college football. What's the weekend outlook?
Man, I've been trying to get in Winners Row for the last 3 weeks, man. 2 weeks, I'm sorry. I'm trying to make it back to Winners Row, man. I'm going to be watching the 49er game Sunday night. But, man, what's up with the NFL, man? NFL got 2 4:00 games on Sunday. One is the Jets in Miami. Who wants to see that? And then, of course, the other one is Tampa and Green Bay. So why didn't they flex one of these games to 4:00? That's only one. Like, I would love to see Pittsburgh and Cleveland at 4:00. Like, that means my 4:00 games are going to be one of those Sundays where I say, okay, man, I'm just going to go to sleep. If this Green Bay and Tampa game's not close, I'm going to sleep on football at 4:00, man. I can feel it.
Yeah. That's prime time to go to sleep. You can up for the Sunday night game, man. I mean, I understand your frustration, but you know COVID wars is happening, and it's causing the schedule to go all topsy-turvy, man. It's just crazy. Monday night football, Tuesday night football, Thursday night football. I'm waiting on a Saturday. I'd love it. I mean, if I could get NFL football Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I'd be for it, man. I'd be for it. I'm sorry, man. Give me that. Give me those 2 4:00 games, and then just give me some Tuesday night football, man. I'll take it.
Tuesday night football had my clock all messed up, man. My mental clock, my physical clock.
Yeah, it caught me by storm too, because I just wasn't ready for it. But I mean, I enjoyed it either way. I don't think the Bills enjoyed it. I don't think they enjoyed it. I don't think they knew a game was going on Tuesday night. So much for that, Josh.
No, it didn't look like it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so much.
And I was hearing so many great things.
Josh Allen, he looked like Blake Bortles. He looked like Blake Bortles on Tuesday night.
Oh, being a Blake Bortles connoisseur, I'd have to agree.
I got something for you. Do you remember the NBA promo on TNT? You said Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yes.
Remember that?
Oh, yes. Oh,
Tuesday,
we
Wednesday,
have to
Thursday.
end with that on the show. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The NBA is in the house. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Oh, what a throwback. We're ending with that. We are ending with that. Hey, this doesn't have to be the end for you. You can always find us on social media. Hit us up on Facebook. You know the logo. And then find us on Twitter and Instagram. TheRoll_Players. Shoot us a DM, shoot us a tweet, shoot us a post. Tag us, tweet us, add us, whatever you have to do. And then when you're done doing that, don't forget to tell a friend about the Role Players Podcast. We're on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon. We're Prime, that's right. And then Spreaker, home of the Role Players, as well as a lot of different other platforms. We're even all the way out in India. Man, you can't go anywhere and not find us. That's how big we are, man. We're doing this all for you. Because, hey, we're not the only role players. You guys are role players, and actually, you guys are the all-stars. We're just the role players to your lives. So, it's been a heck of a show. As always, I'm your boy, Byron. That is your guy, Jay. We are the role players. And, hey, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. All right, man. Until next time, y'all. Later.